Hello everyone, welcome to Painting with Jess. Today we're painting an easy acrylic sunset over water painting. Perfect for beginners. I'm going to show you how easy it is to blend the colors. In this easy painting you can choose any combination of blue, yellow, orange, white, and black. For the sky we're going to blend the blue, orange, and yellow together. We'll make orange by combining red and yellow. As well, we're going to make a lighter color blue by adding white to the blue. Okay, now I'm going to put some tape because tape can show me how far I want to go with the sky. I want it about there, and then I want to make sure that it's the same distance from the bottom. Start with the darkest blue at the top. Not using too much paint, just enough to get it covered. Then we can start changing the color of the blue to a lighter blue. Add a little bit of white. Now you're doing this when the paint is still wet. The first blue was still wet. Now we go even lighter blue. You're just gently pulling the brush across the board. Now we can do orange. Mix some red and yellow, get some orange going. Change brushes, don't forget to change brushes. Yes. Now what we're going to do, because it's a really dark orange, we're going to add a bit of white. Because we don't want too dark. I'll get that brush out of the way. So we've got almost a kind of a coral color, which is kind of nice. But I wanted even darker, so we're adding a little bit more. We'll just blend a bit more of the red into the coral color for now. And then we'll go on there, kind of blend that together with the blue. Now, we're going to add a little bit of darker red at the bottom of where the coral ended. A little bit more red. Now we will do some yellow at the bottom. When you blend the yellow with the coral, it kind of makes orange anyways. So. And you want the bottom area to be very bright yellow, because that's where the sun would be going down. We're going to go over this bottom part again once it's a little bit more dry. Let it dry for a minute or so. So just let it dry and I'll be back. Okay, so the paint has dried a little bit, so we're going to add some yellow near the horizon line just to make it a little brighter down there where the sun will be going down. As you can see, the paint is still a little damp, but it's not, you know, super wet still. If you can see, I'm putting my brush kind of not flat, but sideways when I do this, and it kind of drags the color a little bit better so that it looks better. And then we want like a bunch of yellow just near the middle area where the sun will be going down. There we go. And then we can take the tape off gently, carefully, and then let it dry again. Okay, so now it's time to start on the water. The water we're going to do lighter near the shore, a lighter blue near the shore and a darker blue away from the shore. And we're going to not put the paint right up to the sunset colors. We're going to leave a little bit of space. So here we go. Got the darker blue. What I'm doing too is I'm using the kind of the sideways motion of my brush rather than the flat motion, because that kind of leaves some lines which kind of look like waves, which is neat. Now you don't need tons and tons of paint, but you want enough that it makes it, you know, covers the space, makes it look nice. So now we're going to start adding a little bit more dark. And then we'll start adding some lighter blue once we get about halfway down. And cover this whole area at the bottom of your canvas with the lighter blue. Maybe blend the lighter into the darker a little bit as you're going. You can also add a little bit of dark to the light at the top area to make it blend a little better. Now what I like to do is I put white paint into the blue. So what I'll do, basically, I'll show you in 1 second. Add a little bit more, because I want it to be really kind of thick near the bottom where I want to try to make some waves. So we want the paint not super thick, but a little bit thick. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab a different brush while the paint is still wet. And we're going to try the bigger brush, but I don't know if it'll work. We may have to try a smaller brush. We'll see. So what we're doing is we're just going to go through with the brush kind of sideways and go like this. And we're just not covering the whole space, but every once in a while we're just adding a little bit of white. And this is going to hopefully look like waves. So we'll see how it looks in the end. Now what I also like to do when I'm doing this is I'll add a little bit more blue just to make it mix better. So I might even use the same brush to add more blue as I'm doing it. So I'll use the same brush, just add some more blue near the top. I'm a person who likes using a lot of paint. I don't know why, I just always use a lot of paint. It's just how it goes. So we've got the darker going down, a little bit more white, and then we got the light. I'm just basically going over the whole thing with a little bit more paint to make it look more like waves. You can just kind of do it as much as you feel like and then stop when you think it looks okay. And everybody has their own opinion of what looks okay, I guess. All right, so we're going to let this dry. And then we'll be back to do the tree line and the sun. Okay, so I'm going to do the sun at this point. I think we'll use this brush. And we're going to carefully put it in the middle area. It's just going to be a round circle of white. Now what'll happen, because my yellow underneath color is not quite dry, it's making it a little white, like light yellow, which is fine. I don't mind. But we want really white in the middle because we want it brighter in the middle area. There we go. There, we can always add a little more white on there to make it brighter when it's more dry if we want. Now I think I'm going to put just a little bit of yellow into the edge of the sun to make it look kind of, yeah, you'll see. A little bit of yellow with the pink color. Okay, so this is not the brush that I want to use. It's too hard. Just putting a very small amount of yellow. I'm going to grab the yellow and mix it with a bit of white over here. What I'm trying to do is just make it look a little like the sun is kind of lighting up the rest of the colors a little bit near the bottom. No, you don't want to do too much of this because then anyways, you can just do whatever you feel looks good. There's that. And then I'm going to fix the white because I got a little bit of yellow in there. There we go. That's better. Now acrylic is awesome because acrylic, you can just let it dry and then fix whatever mistakes you think you've made. And then you can do that over and over again if you want. All right. Pretty much when I'm painting, I just paint until I think it looks right. And then later, if I want to go back and fix it, I can do that too. All right, so we'll be back to do the tree line and a little bit of sun reflection in the water. Okay, so now we're going to put some sunset highlights in the water, like reflection colors. I'm not going to put a lot of reflection colors, but some. So we need a little bit of yellow. So we have a bit of yellow, and then the orange, kind of pinkish red. We already have some, and then we have some blue left over from before as well. So we want to kind of, we already have blue in the water, but we want to kind of do a little bit of reflection color. So what I like doing for that is I will use, again, the brush going sideways rather than flat. And we'll grab a little bit of, well, first we'll do a little reflection of the sun going down. We want to do a little bit of a light, very small amount of white reflection in the water, kind of showing that. Just near the end, near the shoreline. Okay, a little bit of white. Now we'll try a bit of the yellow, light yellow. We'll add some yellow with white, make the light yellow. Just doing a bit of reflection in the water kind of thing. No, it's not quite the right color. We need a little bit more, a little bit darker yellow, I think, than what we have going on there. It's a little too light. It's better. So we're just, like I said, doing a little bit of reflection. Now, as you get away from the shore, you can do some more reflections, but you want to do them really far apart because you want them more, you know, you're not as close to the sun. So you just want to very sparingly use that color across the waves. Not doing thick paint, just very light, sideways kind of. And then as you get farther away from shore, just do them less and less. Now, as I said, you can always fix things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this red color from the sunset out of what I've just done because I don't really want it near the bottom of my painting. So I'm just covering it with blue again. I just wanted it a little bit of sunset reflection, not like a lot. So this makes it better, I think. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so we don't have much orange. We need some orange. Red and yellow mixed together. Get some orange going on. And we do a little bit of orange near the shore as well. Just very thin, gentle, sideways kind of motion. Maybe a teeny bit of orange near there. So I need a little bit more white where the sun is supposed to be reflected because I want that to be a little brighter. A little brighter. And you know what? We're gonna make the white go down a little further on the canvas because we want it to look like it's actually shining forward into the water as well. And as you go towards the bottom end of your canvas, you want to be doing the white reflection of the sun in smaller lengthwise areas. You know, just not as wide. Okay, so that's good. What we're going to do now is let it dry, and then we'll do the tree line, and then we'll be just about finished. Okay, so now we are going to try to do the very distant tree line, which is going to be our shore. So we want to take the tape with the paint in the water area completely dry. Like you want to make sure it's absolutely completely dry. And then you want to put the tape exactly straight across. You don't want it to be crooked or lopsided because then you want to measure it with a ruler even, just to make sure it's the same on both sides. Okay, so now we can take our dark color, which for me will be Payne's Gray, and we will do a very distant tree line. I like using Payne's Gray more than black. I don't know why. I just like the gray color of it. Okay, so I want to find a good brush that will make a tree shape, which is kind of like this. Okay, so we're just gonna, first of all, I think what we'll do is we'll go along the bottom with a bigger brush, like this one. We don't want to have to do the whole thing with the tree brush. So yeah, we're painting on top of the tape, but that's okay because we're going to take the tape off. Now we don't want to take it right up to the sunset area just yet. We want to kind of make sure it's pretty thick though, because we want it nice and dark. Because the dark will really look nice against the sunset colors. Now we also want to make sure when we're doing this that we're covering up the underneath. If we get any teeny bit of blue from our painting before, we want to make sure that's covered up so it doesn't show through the darker area. Now we'll grab this brush and we'll just go along kind of making, you know, a shape of a tree form. Just obviously it's not exactly a tree. They're kind of hilly forms. You don't want them exactly straight across because then It doesn't look like trees if it's exactly straight across. You want a couple areas that are higher up and lower down. So as you can see, the sun is kind of peeking over the trees as it's going down. You can still see it a bit there, which I think is nice. And you can just kind of play around with the treetops until it looks the way you want it to look. It doesn't have to look perfect by any means. Mine does not look perfect, but yes. Okay, so we'll make sure the blue underneath there is all covered. Then we'll take the tape off, and I think we'll be just about done for today. Hopefully you enjoyed painting with me today. You just gently take the tape off like I just did. And then you have your tree line. What I'm noticing though is that the tape had a little teeny bit of bleeding down the edges. Maybe I didn't have it on there hard enough, like maybe I didn't push it enough. So what I'm going to do is just take a little brush and very carefully touch up a little bit where it bled, because I don't want any like bleeding through into the watercolor from the other bit. Now this is the time that you can just touch up any areas that you think need any amount of fixing or doing over it all. Just remember, this is just for fun. Just for fun. I find painting is very enjoyable, relaxing, and fun. Okay, awesome. So, if you'd like to see more painting tutorials from Painting with Jess, you can like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time in the next video. Thank you.